I'm not going to do that to you folks. Your service is complete. I'm declaring a mistrial in this case.
We continue to follow breaking news here at 5:30. That was the scene inside the courtroom in Dedham as the judge declared a mistrial in the Karen Read trial.
She came to that decision after reading a note from the jury saying the group could not come to a consensus in this case. We have team coverage for you, starting with NBC 10's Mary Marcos. She is live outside of court in Dedham right now to tell us what comes next. Mary?
Well, now that the judge has declared a mistrial, legal experts say it's like the last 9 weeks never happened.
Efficiently established
A hung jury means a do-over for the Karen Read case.
It has to be disappointing to think that all of this has to be redone again.
The retrial must begin within 1 year under state law, but lawyers have reason to move faster.
You do want to move while the evidence is fresh and while witnesses' memories are intact.
With a federal investigation underway and an ongoing probe into Trooper Michael Proctor, the lead investigator, things could change between now and then.
You know, that trooper's testimony really blew up in the Commonwealth's face. And if in fact he is suspended or any kind of consequence for his misconduct, then that's going to make it really hard for the Commonwealth to decide how to present their case.
There could be a lot of things that happen in the interim on the defense side as well, because finances are going to pose a problem.
Legal experts say retrying a high-profile case like this isn't cheap.
The first trial was an enormous expense. The next one will probably be just as expensive.
It's not just time and energy, getting a lot of the forensic reports, the technological information, experts, and so on.
And the state will need to find another unbiased jury.
The litmus test with jurors is it's not whether you know about the case, because with infamous high-profile cases, everyone knows about this case.
You know, the reality of the way we live is that we can almost always find 12 or 18 people who just have no idea, even though we've all been immersed in it.
Now, the clerk's office says that they will, because of this mistrial, they will not be releasing the identities of those jurors. Live in Dedham, Mary Marcos, NBC 10 Boston.
Mary, thank you. We continue our team coverage with our courtroom insider, Sue O'Connell. Sue, a lot of strong feelings about this case. The jury was not sequestered. If that's the case, did you get any sense from anybody that maybe there was a little bit more in the way of pressure on these juries that might have led to what happened today?
Well, you know, JC, part of the challenge here is obviously protecting the identity of the jurors while this process was going on. You know, and I can only imagine the challenges that many of these people felt as they were going through this process for all of these weeks, over, a number of days, and all the testimony that they had to hear, and having to avoid all of this. And this is a case that came with some witness intimidation charges as well. Aidan Carney, the Turtle Boy blogger, he's been charged with some witness intimidation charges federally. That case is making its way through the court system. He, of course, is innocent until proven guilty. So there was a lot of concern around protecting the jurors' identities as they do this process. But look, in this world of amplification where everybody can have a social media account and blast out whatever they think, I can imagine that concern was weighing heavy on some jurors. Maybe we'll find out, maybe we won't, but it's something we need to think of when we're asking people to respect the privacy of jurors.
We talked about sort of the psychological impact or effects this has had on our show, Canton Confidential, at 7 p.m. From talking to people outside, can you get a sense of why they were so polarized? Because they were very passionate on Karen Read supporters and on those that believe she is guilty.
The people I talked to mostly, because they were the people here and the people willing to speak on the record, were the Karen Read supporters. And many of them related to Karen Read. Many of them presented themselves to me as supporters of the police, that believed that the police were usually right. They were shocked to find out some of the investigative mistakes or mishaps or methods here. And many of them said to me repeatedly, Karen Read could have been me. This could have happened to me. I will also note to you, JC, that many of them were Donald Trump supporters, so there was that mix in there as well. I asked several times to speak to people who were anti-Karen Read. I wouldn't classify them as O'Keefe supporters, but anti-Karen Read, and they basically were didn't want to speak on the record for fear of being harassed. And we didn't really approach the OKeefe family in the courtroom. So we do have a sort of one-sided picture here because of the way the dynamics of this has happened. But it has been polarizing. And again, it's also causing people who had one shared belief of what they thought was happening in the world, and now they have another.
Sue, I know you've been sitting behind the OKeefe family during this trial, so I know you haven't really been able to see necessarily all of their reaction. But as they walked out of court today, what have you heard or seen about how they're doing after the declaration of a mistrial?
Yeah, JC, you could definitely see as they were walking out of the courtroom, just the weight of this on their shoulders as they came down the stairs. Each and every time, just for a little behind the scenes here, whenever the jury said they had a question or they wanted to talk to the judge, everybody had to come from where they were to get into the courtroom. And wherever the OKeefe family was gathering, they had to get in the cars, come here, and come into the courtroom and wait with the rest of us. So while we're waiting to hear a verdict or hear what the question is, every single time they had to wait to find out to see if they were going to get an answer, a verdict, a guilty, not guilty, whatever it was. So I imagine today they are exhausted and depleted, and we'll see if they are up for the challenge of going through this process again.
Sue, thank you. And never can forget that we still don't have justice for the death of John O'Keefe. Thank you. And we will have more reaction throughout the night on the judge's decision in the mistrial in this case. Tune in at 7 o'clock for Canton Confidential, the Karen Read murder trial. We'll have legal experts joining us, helping us break everything down.